And obviously it's not fucking for kids. It's incredibly weird.
It's not fucking for kids.
It's not fucking for kids, bitches. Welcome to the Georg Rockall-Schmidt Show. Here I am in Englandshire with Damien Benedict. How are you doing, Damien?
Thank you very much.
A chocolate eclair in my mouth. That's unheard of. Yep.
It's all unheard of, I suppose.
So we're recording this podcast. This is the first podcast that we've done ever for the Georg Rockall-Schmidt Show where Damien is in the same room as me. I know that will come as a shock to most people because it's so professionally made.
Our high production values. Yeah, it is seamless. It would never sound like we're thousands of miles apart. But
every podcast starts with dum dum dum. Skype is calling, please wait. So it is weird being in the same room because obviously the only time we've ever done this before is the Boisterous Brothers, the Boistry, which was years ago. I suppose most people listening to this probably don't know what that is. It's the podcast Damien and I did back in 2016.
16, yeah.
Was it? Yes.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
My head for numbers at the end of this year is kind of frazzled.
There are only 19 published episodes. This isn't an advert for it. I don't think it's very good.
It's more of a jumping off point, you know.
It was definitely honest in its weirdness. Mm-hmm. I think.
But they will forever remain buried. So.
Yeah. And I'm just... Yeah, you need to get closer to the microphone, Damien.
I need to get closer to the mic.
Closer still.
Oh my god.
Closer still.
No. Not while I'm doing... Not with this in my ears.
And that's how I got tetanus. So our subject today comes from a viewer, a listener. Thank you very much for sending this in. Anyone else is welcome to do so.
Yeah, you're not going to get a shout out. We did not pay attention to your name.
I think his name is like Callum or Richard or... Anchor or something.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of crossover. He could be any one of those things.
Let's just play it safe. Let's just say
read out as many
Muhammad.
names as possible.
Thank you, Jesus. So today's subject is Muppetizing famous films. By Muppetizing, I assume it doesn't mean Muppetizing in the sort of Hitler way, like Hitler he re-Muppetized the Rhineland.
Please clarify what Muppetization is.
Muppetizing is making a film or a film series, basically remaking it, but appealing to younger people by making the characters very young. And I guess for us, this comes from something somebody wrote on a review about Terminator Genisys, and they said the characters in Terminator Genisys are the Muppet Babies version of the characters in Terminator 1. So you've got Sarah Connor, played by Emilia Clarke, who I can only say her name by going Emilia Clarke. She plays Sarah Connor, and she is a completely different Sarah Connor. She's a Muppet Babies version.
It's quite a good analogy. I'm a little bit pissed off because we definitely did not kind of make any kind of interesting comparisons in what we would talk about. I seem to remember it was just Jai Courtney shit.
We did. We said they're like Muppet babies, like this other person said.
Yeah, forget about what was it, Harry John Simon, whatever his name was.
Who's Harry John Simon?
The person that came up with the suggestion. We decided he had this incredibly generic every name.
Richard Allen Smith. Toby Turner.
His name's going to be 20 names long soon.
50 Cent. That was his name. Are there any other movies that strike you like Terminator Genisys where there's a Muppet Babies version of something that happened before? I mean, an obvious version is stuff like Lego, which is meant to be like that. We're going to do a Lego-izing movies podcast at some point. But like the Lego version of Batman with Will Arnett, that's meant to be like that, and it's pretty funny.
Have you seen that?
I've seen some of it. I haven't sat down and watched it. I know that's unbelievable.
I'd only watched 20 minutes of a movie before getting fucking outraged.
But are there any movies that strike you as being like that?
Stuff we've already talked about, I suppose. You could make the case definitely for Indiana Jones when they brought that stuff back.
Well, what I was going to say, because we've just watched an episode, I kind of think The Simpsons now is like a Muppet Babies version of The Simpsons back when it was good.
I would say, yeah, I could see that, yeah.
A little bit. I mean, I think because The Simpsons now, you can tell someone's written this like, guys, I've looked back at the episode. We don't have an edgy bit. We need an edgy bit. They never did that in the old Simpsons. They just wrote whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
I think.
I felt, it always struck me particularly. I mean, at one point we were just making, there was the way the characters were written, and there was sentimental moments, this, that, and the other, and I wouldn't really call it a Muppet Babies version. I've never heard that comparison before, but I'm kind of getting my head around it. It's definitely, the shadow of what it once was.
Right.
It does feel like, as you were saying, they kind of wrote whatever they wanted back in the old days, but it feels like it's very formulaic now. Everything follows a very similar structure. I mean, it is like Guest of the Week type thing. They may as well fucking skip the fucking formality and make it almost like a fucking talk show, really, and just like see who we've got this week, and have a couple of like shitty little sketches in between.
I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? Because when we were growing up, because boy, are we not growing up anymore. We're fully grown men. When we were growing up, I remember celebrities saying, you've made it when you get invited to The Simpsons. Oh, I was on The Simpsons. This is the defining point of my career. I bet The Simpsons is positively fucking looking under rocks for people to get in there now.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. I wouldn't say under the rocks, but it does feel like it's almost like a formality.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, okay, I've reached a certain point. Here's your Simpsons card.
Yeah, like, sorry, we've got another fucking 26 episodes to do. We're going to have to find ourselves some celebrity centipedes under the rocks.
Although I would quite like to see that episode.
Yes.
Where they sew a lot of these celebrities ass to mouth.
No, I know. I think it's not saying anything. I think Homer just looks straight at the camera and says, "Celebrity culture is a fucking disgrace."
Like straight into the fucking camera.
It's the last episode ever made.
He's, he really draws out the delivery. He's there. He's got a cigarette. Slowly puts it out. Really breathes it right out. Looks into the camera.
Yeah.
Sighs.
Yeah.
It's dead.
Yeah, so I think maybe the Muppets a bit. I could imagine South Park could get like that.
I kind of thought that it was kind of at that level already, actually.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with it anymore, really.
The way we're talking about it, I think we're saying that Muppet Babies is when it becomes like the thing that was kind of parodying.
No, kind of taking the piss out of it becomes a parody of itself.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, with The Simpsons, that's definitely the case, because The Simpsons used to really rip on celebrity culture, and now it's entirely dependent on it.
Like South Park is a good example of that as well, because I remember, I don't watch it anymore, but we watched an episode like a year or two ago, and it was eye-opening. And one of the things that South Park, and I think The Simpsons would do all the time, is when they would make these parodies in their show, it would always be something nondescript. They just take certain elements and like
Mendoza.
Yeah, I mean, basically
that's not from anything.
They have Rainier Wolfcastle, who was obviously supposed to be a dig at Schwarzenegger. And they just took elements and they kind of they use that to kind of create that fucking joke. But if you were to do that now,
it would be Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, you just have like it was. I remember seeing that in the Simpsons movie. I remember when we went to see it, we said exactly the same thing, because he. This was about the time that Schwarzenegger became the governor for California. So when Wolfcastle was in the movie, he was President Schwarzenegger. Right. And it was just like, well, that feels quite unnecessary. That was kind of the whole joke anyway.
Yeah, right. President Gump. Maybe that could be a Muppets Babies version of current events right now. Just Gump does everything. Gump sorts out Israel-Palestine.
Well, yeah, but we're not talking about Forrest Gump. That's something we're going to get into much later on down the line.
Gump is
Gump is whatever you want Gump to be.
Gump is all things to all men. Gump is the first and the last, the alpha and omega.
So it's not really Muppet Babies, it's a new religion.
Welcome to Gump 2.0. Your life has changed, you just don't know it yet. Fill in your bank details now. Wah, wah, wah. Well, I think the whole Muppets Babies thing that the Roger Ebert reviewer mentioned with the Terminator Genesis thing, it's not about rebranding, but it's all about appealing to a new generation. It's all about kind of like, let's do it different, soft reboot bullshit. And I think to a certain degree you've had this for a while. I mean, do you remember when you would see action figures action figurines of Freddy Krueger. I mean, I remember Freddy Krueger being a fucking child molester who was burnt to death.
I remember the headlines. I was there.
I remember. Yeah, right. But what I mean, it's like a fucking action figure of Osama bin Laden. It's just, like, it's not cool.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I wouldn't want to see action figures of fucking, we must talk about Kevin.
Oh, you say that, but if I saw that in the shops, I'd snap that right the fuck up. Comes with own crossbow.
Lock your own rooms up. But you know what I mean? I think the Freddy Krueger thing. I'm not saying like those films have been diluted, but I think a lot of media around them have. I mean, I'm sure I've seen a cartoon of Freddy Krueger in something else at some point.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt.
You know, the whole fucking thing about him was he was a fucking child molester.
Oh, we just brush over that.
Yeah,
it's all right.
I it's a separate issue, but I always did find it weird when I was a kid. I knew that RoboCop had a big 18 on it. Like the fucking VHSs of RoboCop, it was 18, and it was like you can't watch it because it's really violent. But you could buy, if you were 11, you could buy a RoboCop action figure,
and you could shoot, whoever you wanted in the dick.
But I always thought that was weird that you would have that kind of, separate thing. 'Cause with Star Wars was always a bit kiddie. It was always accessible to children, if nothing else. Whereas RoboCop, definitely, and Terminator and things like that, they're not for kids. They're violent, and they're like, especially RoboCop, there's nasty bits in that.
Yeah.
But they would have these RoboCop action figures, and I just thought it was bizarre. Like, I remember Resident Evil 2, it was a 15, but they had these action figures that definitely appealed to, like, 9-year-olds and people who collect them.
Yeah, I remember shit like that. I remember I used to get, like, toy figurines of, like, the aliens from the Alien movies, but, like, for a while they had this...
The Tyranids! Damien, avid collector of the Warhammers.
Yes, at one point in my life. Terribly.
2 years ago.
20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
The glue's still setting.
Yeah, but not in your fucking drug-addled brain.
Thank Christ.
Yeah, that is more respectable.
But yeah, like a movie that was solidly 18s, they produced these kids figures for, and they would start. It like I got 2 figurines, right, and it came with like a small comic book as well. They were trying to build like this more kind of diluted world around it. I mean, it was still about things bursting out of animals.
Okay.
But it was just more.
And one of them was set in the pyramids, and like one of them, an alien burst out of Set's chest or something. It was things like that, right?
Well, the 2 that I had one was a bull alien, and the other was a rhino alien.
Well, the bull alien was in Alien 3.
Was it?
Yeah. Do you not remember at the beginning in the prison, it comes out of a
fucking massive.
It's but it's kind of so. You never see it properly, so you can't really tell.
Okay.
Like, you could easily, miss it. It's irrelevant. It's just an alien.
Right. Okay.
It doesn't matter what it's out of. It acts exactly the same. Although I would like to see it with like a proper kind of like 2009 PS2 sort of mechanic or PS3 or whatever, where it's kind of like there's a bit where it runs at Ripley and she has to quickly move and then it hits the wall behind her.
Like a vet system.
She has to do that like 8 times and then the roof collapses.
I always remember, like, I had like this game on the PlayStation for Alien, and like it was like a FPS, but they just have all these facehuggers, right? And they had this thing. It was the auto-dog unit, they called it. It just
auto-dogging,
and they would just cut the alien out of you every time, so there's kind of like no peril whatsoever. So I was getting impregnated every like 5 minutes.
Well, and
that's my new ringtone.
Yeah, today's fucking soundbite. Do you think the new Alien movies have been slightly Muppet babyized a little bit? I mean, it's still kind of serious, but I don't know. When that alien bursts out of John Hurt's chest and everything, and even in Alien 2 and Alien 3, I look at that and it's kind of like, oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
But in Prometheus and in, I was going to say Carnage, what's the other one? Covenant.
Yeah.
It's just a bit kind of like, okay.
Yeah,
but that's my attitude towards it more than anything, I guess.
Yeah, no, I have quite a negative attitude. I just think it's one of those.
Yeah, you do.
The things
Mr. Fucking Bumbleside. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not trying anymore.
Nor will I edit this out.
Mr. Dunkleshite.
Uncle Shite.
Do you think they were like, okay, so we've split it, guys, sit down, I've got it. It's either like Ricardo Perry Dungleshite or Engelbert Hunkledink, whatever his name is.
Or Timothy Spatfrabber.
How did they come up with that name? Isn't his name like Richard Spalding or something?
It's Jerry Dorsey, I seem to remember. Something really...
Jerry Dorsey?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
We were talking about... like in Prometheus and shit. It's, yeah, I mean, it's one I kind of feel it was kind of unnecessary. I thought one of the great things about Alien, particularly the first movie, I don't really like Aliens too much, and, well, everything it kind of wanted to expand on after that. In fact,
Right.
No, it was just more questions than answers, and that's... For something that's a horror movie, I think that's absolutely key. There was no...
Right.
That's
why the Blair Witch was so interesting, because you don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
And then when they say, "Oh, she was an 8-year-old girl and she was in an asylum," it's like, oh fucking hell.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
It's just lame.
It's ridiculous.
Oh,
Carl. Okay, so Muppetizing films. I think to me it's all about kind of merchandising, really. I think one of the reasons Star Wars has been so successful is because it's accessible to children, right?
Yeah, easy. Yeah.
You don't need to Muppetize that, although I think probably The Phantom Menace et al. Was a bit with Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Jar Jar. You know who I'm talking about, that pillbox hat wearing French sophisticate.
His children need wine.
Because it's still a dude. He's wearing a black cocktail dress, but he's a member of the Resistance. I mean, wouldn't it have been great if it was just about Jar Jar and all he did was puncture Nazis' tires?
Like in between scenes, it's just a shot of him, inexplicably.
Yeah, like occasionally he stabs one in the neck.
Like George Lucas was trying to edit 2 separate movies, but thought he'd go really fucking avant-garde with it.
He did a lot of fucking coke. And the editors who came in to repair it, they got it all. But in one of the extras, there is still a bit where it's very kind of silly and Jar Jar's all over the place. But Jar Jar then does say to someone in the ear as he stabs them to death, "France will always be free."
Like really tenderly as well.
Yeah.
It's got this really kind of like psychosexual vibe to it, and it's not good.
It's not explicit at all, but it's fucking uncomfortable.
But you can't look away.
No, it's fantastic filmmaking. It's the best thing George Lucas has done in years.
Guest director, no way.
Yeah. But I was kind of thinking, you've got a problem with things like Alien in that it doesn't automatically appeal to kids. You can't overtly market it to children because it is so kind of violent and adult.
Kind of, but I think that's what they kind of achieved with a lot of the video games that they pumped out.
Right.
I'm not quite sure about Alien Isolation. I think that was kind of more straight up kind of a horror. Survival horror game. I haven't played it, but I knew there was like stuff like Colonial Marines and stuff like that, and I know that there's been fucking dozens of the fuckers over the last 20 years.
I think Colonial Marines though was aimed at long-term fans because it was specifically about aliens, Alien 2.
Yeah.
And I mean you know about that, right? That was absolutely fucking panned.
What, the game?
Yeah.
I knew
Vertical Slice.
Vertical Slice?
Yeah, that's how they explained the marketing, because people played it and they said this isn't what you showed us at whatever trade show, E3 or whatever. And they'd taken like the best elements of like all the missions and put it into 10 minutes.
Right, okay.
So you were under the impression that's what the whole game was like.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
But I kind of would say that's how they achieved that. I remember I had a Game Gear when I was a kid, and there was I had Alien 3 for the Game Gear on that, and I was playing that long before I'd seen any of the movies. And
there was that cheat on it, which was like, I got pink acid boots on. Do you remember that? You typed that in, it was a really long-winded cheat. Like all the vowels were numbers, but it was like basically invincibility.
I never knew about shit like that.
Okay.
I remember it being really fucking tedious. But as a kid with nothing better to do, I would slog through it like a motherfucker.
Was it scary?
No, not
Okay.
at all.
No.
It had this wonderful. What you have to do is like save prisoners before the time is up. You've got a timer. You've got to save everyone, then get to an exit where they don't tell you where any of this shit is.
Yeah, right. Of course.
It's inexplicable. But if you failed, it had this wonderful moment where it just go around the level, showing you everybody you missed with everything bursting out of them, which was always quite
Yeah.
lovely and gratuitous.
Okay. So do you think we could have a Muppets alien? Oh no!
That was going to be my question from earlier, right? So, when I was thinking about those toys. So the point is with like the face hugger and the xenomorph is like it takes on whatever, right? Whatever it impregnates, right?
So
if
an alien Kermit is what you're saying. Well, have you seen this shit on YouTube? That's the end of my question. Have you seen this shit on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen this shit on YouTube?
I'm producing the shit on the
aimed
YouTube.
at children, but it's weird stuff. It's been in the news actually. It's people dressed up as Spider-Man and like Elsa from Winter's Tale, things like that. Different kind of Disney characters or Marvel characters doing weird stuff, and it's like some of the more benign stuff is like Spider-Man and Elsa go to the park. And these videos have like 20 million views, but a lot of it is like Spider-Man takes a shit on Elsa.
That was, I mean, obviously you can't cut right to the quick there because that was going to be my first follow-up question, right? And this is on YouTube. No, I have not seen
I
this.
don't know if it's still up there, but it's on YouTube Kids, and there's been a huge furore around it because this stuff appears to be monetized. Someone's making loads of money on it. And obviously it's not fucking for kids. It's incredibly weird.
It's not fucking for kids.
It's not fucking for kids, bitches.
Back up. That's the warning.
So H3H3 did this video years ago, maybe like 2 years ago or a year ago, and it was about this channel he found, and it was a channel with a big following, like way bigger than my channel, and it was a dude, and he would get a plastic baby, and he would like put some sort of food on the baby to make the baby look like it shit itself, in a diaper. And then the video would just be him cleaning this fake shit off this fake baby, and that would be the video.
Like completely silent as well.
Maybe there was music. Maybe there was Rachmaninoff in the background.
I was going to say like Clint Mansell or something, some kind of adagio.
Yeah,
It's really horrific.
I don't know. It's
I hope you're not lying to me because I'm going to have to
I'm
check
not
this stuff
lying.
out
No, you can look it up.
immediately. And if I don't find like shit babies and Spider-Man shitting
So
on
you're gonna type
Elsa,
shit babies into YouTube.
well, I think that's the quickest way. I think the simplest solution.
If you just type Spider-Man and Elsa, some weird shit will come up.
Oh, yeah, I imagine so.
I mean, it used to be that if you typed in something like Elsa or Hunger Games, especially, the first like 100 videos that would come up would be Minecraft.
Right, okay.
Because someone had done a Minecraft video and put Hunger Games into the title. And it was maybe them making like a fort out of Hunger Games or something. Or maybe them playing some sort of Minecrafty version of Hunger Games.
They just had Hunger Games on in the background.
Really low, and it's in Czech.
There's no real way to know.
But it's
You
got
know, for a
100 million
Western
views.
for a Western audience.
Okay, so a Muppets Babies Alien versus a Muppet Babies Predator versus a Muppet Babies Murtog.
And a Muppet Babies versus Freddy versus Jason.
Freddy's versus the Jason.
I quite like to see that remake.
I mean, they're basically there anyway. But Muppet Babies to me, they're the kind of like same size and same strength as Sooty and Sweep.
All right, so they're not Muppets at all. They are just like hand puppets
They are just
now.
puppets.
You know,
Like Alien gets stomped on by like a fucking fully 6'5" life-sized Danny Glover.
a life-size 8-foot Danny Glover.
I mean, that would be a different movie, wouldn't it? If it was like Alien, they go in there, and then this thing jumps on John Hurt's face, but it can't get its dick in his mouth because like John Hurt's like 6 foot or whatever, and this thing is tiny. This thing is like a fucking tiny little hermit crab. He just rips it off and stamps it, and then they're there, and they're just like, well, looks like we've got a bunch of aliens.
And they're all felt as well.
It's just genocide, yeah. They're all felt up. All the little crabs are felt up. I don't know. So Muppet, obviously, you know, they would never do a Muppet Babies alien, I don't think. But I could see them doing a Muppet cartoon, an alien cartoon.
I suppose so. I know they did like shit like Dead Space and stuff like that. I don't know. I think maybe we're talking a little bit too quickly. Actually, I think there probably is an alien cartoon already.
Well, okay, but I kind of meant more like a Saturday morning, like definitely for kids cartoon.
Right. Okay. Oh, you could definitely get there. I'm surprised. I don't know. Yeah, I mean they could definitely keep softening the edges. I'm surprised that Covenant hasn't been going in that direction anyway. Really.
I mean, if we really want to get down to it, obviously we're just kind of taking the piss. Who'd have thought it? But if you really want to get down to it, I would be surprised if in the next 20 years there isn't something called Young Ripley.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And fuck
Adventures
off to that.
Adventures
of Young Ripley.
I kind of feel like that's what they're doing right now, really. It's just they couldn't...
Well, yeah, but Covenant doesn't have that, does it?
No, but it's, they're still going with the same strong female protagonist.
Adventures of Young Ash. And here is a British actor pretending to be an android creeping you out. That's what Alien is.
Oh dear! But they've CGI'd fucking a young Ian Holmes' face on the android. That's what's really disturbing. It doesn't sit right at all. It's a real nightmare image.
It's Ian Holmes' face as he is now on a young man's body. Like the dude is like an Adonis. But it's
just his face is melting.
His face is that of a 70-year-old British actor, and it's like it ends, and it's like these two like alien droids. It's like Bishop versus David, but it's not, because it's again bodies of Adonises. It's Ian Holm versus Derek Jacobi. And they're on like the outside of a spaceship or something. They're like hauling fucking cars at each other.
But it's Derek Jacobi as Cadfile as well. So he's got the fucking monk haircut.
Right, he's got the monk haircut. I fucking forgot about that. I could totally watch some Cadfile.
I'm sure that is a sentence that will have not been uttered this year.
I've just summoned a demon.
Oh, fancy that. I've been stood on a pentagram this whole time.
Jesus. Georg Rockall-Schmidt said that he could watch a Cadfile. The seventh seal has turned. The winds are changing.
Oh, dear.
God, yeah, it's been years. I mean, they don't even show reruns of that, do they? Explain to the listener what that is. Explain to Jason what that is.
Cadfile was like this old kind of ITV drama. It was kind of like a whodunit type murder mystery type thing, but it was set hundreds of fucking years ago.
It was set in the 14th century.
Yeah, it was like the Dark Ages, and Cadfile is this like crime-fighting monk, for lack of a better...
He's a monk, and he looks like Friar Tuck. He is a monk with a bald spot cut onto his head. It's ridiculous. He looks like one of those fucking orangutans from Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, that's a fair comparison. Right. Well, points to anyone who does know that. I only knew that because like my nan used to have like rogue videotapes, because kind of like fucking floating about the house every now and again.
Alert! Rogue videotapes. Alert!
Or maybe it was just an elaborate bait and switch. That's just what she thought, would kind of mask whatever horrors were inside.
I hope they don't find my snuff porn. Cadfile?
Like she's offering it around like biscuits.
Oh, you could do a Muppets Babies versions of Morse.
I don't know.
Called Endeavour.
Oh yeah, fucking hell! I saw like one episode of that a few months ago. I think, I didn't know what to think of that.
They could do. So they're doing young version of that, young version of Die Hard.
Are they doing
John
a young
McClane? Yeah, they're doing young John McClane.
Right. Okay.
They could do a young RoboCop before he was robotic, when he was just a cop.
And so it's just cop.
Occasionally, like he looks at like photographs of his dad's from like the Iraq War, and he sees people who are like wearing prosthetics legs, and he looks at the camera and he says, "I hope that never happens to me."
Wink.
Hey.
It has one of those like horrible little wipes where the camera just zooms, black spot just kind of brings it in.
And then it cuts to the director and the producer in their studio saying, "Oh, by the way, just so you know, you're watching RoboCop," and like later he turns into like a prosthetic policeman. Prosthetic policeman.
So it's commentary, right?
It's commentary, yeah.
Don't forget, please watch some more.
This is foreshadowing. like we're not. Listen, this is a very successful show. We don't need your help. Please.
Yeah, we've had, we're so confident in what we're doing. We can dispense with the normal narrative devices.
I fucking hate it. Just talking about it now, I fucking hate this shit. Young fucking John McClane. John McClane does not have that sort of personality. It's about him in a building. He's a normal dude in a building where the interesting person, Hans Gruber, is making shit happen and John McClane has to react to it. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. Oh, it's just one of those, it's franchise-itis, I think. It's just fucking ring it out for what it's worth. It's not... I didn't know about that, but I shouldn't be quite so surprised. I don't know why it kind of offends me so much seeing this... I don't know why it offends me quite so much. I've seen like shit like this for a long time. There was the young Indiana Jones like in the 90s.
Right.
And like young Sherlock Holmes. I'm sure there's like several different incarnations of young Sherlock Holmes.
Right.
Oh dear.
I don't mind that so much because it's based on a book. I mean, I don't understand why you don't just have Sherlock Holmes. Because, didn't Arthur Conan Doyle write like 90 Sherlock Holmes books?
Yeah.
I mean, just do something and don't even call it young Sherlock Holmes. Just cast some fucking 20-year-old dude. And do you know what I mean? I mean, young Sherlock Holmes.
But I know full well that's
young Freddy Krueger.
He's just a janitor at this point. There's no disfiguring or anything like that.
He's just a rapist janitor.
He's only he's just kind of contemplating child molestation at this point. He's a relatively normal dude. He's engaged to
the whole film is about him trying to compete competitively on Super Mario Brothers 2 at a local convention. It's filmed like a documentary. It's nothing to do with him.
Yeah, that's how he meets his potential targets. But we've got a little crossover with the Woodsman here, and Kevin Bacon comes in and just kicks his ass. Kevin Bacon's who sets him on fire.
Yeah, Kevin the Bacon, Muppet Baby. If Kevin the Bacon did that, he could be in way more adverts on British TV. Him and Harvey Keitel could team up.
Oh, fucking hell.
Do you know why Kevin Bacon does so many adverts?
He must be quite hard up for cash, or...
He lost all his money in the Freddie May, Bernie Mac thing.
What was that?
So it was in 2008, 2009, part of the recession, part of the economic downturn was to do with Freddie May and Bernie Mac. I can't tell you exactly, but investments, they took loads of people's money to invest and they did not return that money. That money disappeared.
I thought Bernie... No, when you said that...
You thought Bernie Mac stood for president against Donald Trump. I thought it's Hillary Duff.
Yeah, I kind of remember... I must be confused with someone else because I thought Bernie Mac was a comedian that died quite a few years back, like really young.
Bernie Mac. Fannie Mae. Type it into Google.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Bernie Mac is the guy who died. Oh dear, I'm very sorry.
You should apologise. A close personal friend.
I am apologising. Is Bernie Mac the dude who was in Bad Santa? Oh yeah, he died.
Yeah, somewhat surprising. I think he's quite a young dude. He's had a huge one in the chest. Terrifying stuff.
What, you mean he got hit by a 38?
A bazooka. There was no usable material left.
I tell you what, it was a shame as well because that was a really nice G2 mic he had on. Lovely lapel mic that went with him.
Because it was like sewn into his skin.
Yeah, they've got a Bad Santa 2, which I've not seen. Could they do a Bad Santa Muppets Babies? where Kermit's all like, "Oh, you stupid frog!" No, that was the.
And he's grinding up against teenagers, in pinball machines in the mall.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was the pig. What's the pig called? Colette. No, what's the pig
Piggy.
called? Piggy, Mrs. Piggy.
Yeah.
Do you know what her first name is?
What?
I don't know.
Oh,
Eustace. I don't know. You can find it.
Eustace.
Type that in. Let's find. What is Mrs. Piggy's name? Take your bets now. Her name's Piggy Lee. It's not Miss Piggy.
It's Miss Lee. Fucking hell.
It's Miss Lee. So is she? Is Miss Piggy from the Orient? Could you do a Muppets Babies version of Muppets Babies? And they're just sperm.
They just get smaller and smaller each time.
They're exactly the same, but it ends up with them like fighting off bacteria.
Yeah, like protozoa level.
Yeah.
So we got Avery Schreiber in episode 116 tells us that Piggy is in fact short for Pigathias.
Pigathias Lee.
From the Greek meaning river of passion.
Well, they really nailed that. You could do a Ghostbusters Muppet Babies, where all the Ghostbusters are completely devoid of any humour or... Oh no, they did that. Sorry. Wow. Yeah, I'm fucking on that only a year and a half later.
Fingers on the pulse. What we need to do is get a nice whip crack sound in there.
Yeah. And then I'll say like, ho ho, I hear you did a whip there, Damien. Was that a whip of the pussy variety?
Not relevant. Moving on.
I'm an adult virgin. Okay, what else could they do? Muppets Babies. Bergerac, Muppets Babies.
So we've got really mainstream fucking movies everyone has known and loved, have this cult status, and really bizarre shit from ITV in the late 1980s.
It's all ITV.
Muppet Babies Columbo. There's a little bit of a crossover there. Bridge to the two, maybe.
Muppets Babies Columbo.
That would be fucking genius.
He's got this trench coat and it's like a fucking train.
Yeah, it's the same. It's
the same coat.
It's the same coat that Peter Falk was allegedly buried in.
Like he gets into the car, the Peugeot, to drive it, but then there's like, you know, there's like Gonzo on the fucking, well, baby Gonzo on the pedals, you know, to make it go and everything.
Oh, but he doesn't have enough upper body strength, so he's just kind of wiping his face on it, and still there's not much progress.
Well, Gonzo. Oh.
His skull isn't fully developed, so he's really smearing his brains.
I don't understand the Muppets Babies things because, like, the Muppet version of A Christmas Carol or the Muppets version of Treasure Island, that's fucking Muppets Babies anyway. That's for children. It's for little tiny children.
I have not watched this as an adult ever.
And fans of Patrick Picard.
Oh dear.
No, he isn't Patrick Picard. No, that.
You know what that movie should have been? Is like right at the end, right?
No,
like Patrick Picard calls out computer.
No, it isn't Patrick
right?
Picard. Patrick Picard isn't in it.
Patrick Picard.
Patrick Stewart. Jesus Christ.
Welcome to Fact Checkers.
Christmas. Patrick Stewart, you were saying?
Patrick Picard. Yeah, at the end of that movie, you know, or at least at the end of Act 2, right, as a real kind of mindfuck, he calls out computer, and the whole thing was on the holodeck the whole time. You've just got extended Star Trek.
You could do that for any movie. I love it if at the end of, you know, what is it? It's Prometheus, Covenant, Cloister would be the next one, something like that. At the end, it just goes blank. And then it goes back to the screen of old Australian man, old Guy Pearce.
Yeah.
But instead of old Guy Pearce, it's fucking old Ridley Scott walking on going, I decided that in my last 10 years, I would make as much money as possible because I fucking hate people and the only way I can prove I'm better than them is by being rich beyond my wild... Sorry, I had a point here, but now it's just going
to... it's just shitting on Ridley Scott, like really, really badly.
What about Muppet Babies' villain from Seven? Even creepier because it's Kevin Spacey.
Like, yeah, obviously now Kevin Spacey is not allowed out in public whatsoever, but he still has a lot of things to take care of. So he has like this surrogate, for lack of a better term, this avatar. He's now replaced with a Muppet.
He has a fat suit, right? He gets done in this fat suit and everything, and walks around. And it's like he has a normal life.
Done up in loads of makeup, really heavy jowls. You'd never recognise him.
Yeah,
but he's still out there touching you up.
Yeah. I don't know. I always thought that Kevin Spacey probably, just by looking at him, Kevin Spacey kind of came across like he smelled like dick.
Oh.
You know.
I mean, you can't really
Like,
smell someone through the
Kevin.
TV, but
Oh, nice to meet you. What smells like 20 other men?
what smells like bottom of the pile?
Oh, that's fucking nasty.
Oh,
Do you like Kevin Spacey?
I can't say I like Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey Muppets babies.
And by that, it's every one of his most prominent roles in the same room.
Yeah, it's like the Nutty Professor. Like, he plays all of the family, all of the Spaceys. Well, okay. What about something? Okay, if you really legitimately had to take something that was well established and market it to children by doing this, what would work? Because obviously something like True Detective isn't going to work.
So what you're asking me is, how do we make Kevin Spacey more palatable
No,
for children?
I'm leaving Kevin Spacey alone.
Move on.
I think, yeah, never mind.
No, go back to your question. I'll give it a fair shot this time.
Right. What would you take and make it into a Muppet Babies thing? So sort of something for young children. I mean, maybe Harry Potter.
Like, yeah, that would easily work.
Right. Because Lego, doing it through Lego is a form of doing that. But
I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, there's Lego Batman. They did another Lego. Like in Lego Star Wars and Harry Potter's got to be not far behind. I mean, I guess something there's got. I imagine, right, with that kind of success, there's probably got 1 or 2 movies already in the works. Those two came up in quick succession.
Well, so you got, I don't know, you've got like Muppet Babies, Harry Potter, and then I guess you could have Muppets Harry Potter as well. But I think you're missing a bit of a demographic.
Oh, so we got Muppet Babies Harry Potter and Muppets Harry Potter. So we got more grown up
right. Well,
demographic.
This is what I'm saying, because I think, then you've got a problem of like Harry Potter stops becoming appealing to people unless there's something wrong with them when they're about 13 or 14. Right? Oh, come on. No one who's 20 is into Harry Potter and is fucking fuckable.
I think that's the nice cold open for this show.
I've never fucking sat next to someone on a train and been like, see, what are you reading over there? Oh, Harry Potter. Oh,
you don't smell like dick.
Yeah, okay. Goodbye then. Yeah, you'll never will. Well, couldn't you have like Muppet Babies Harry Potter and then Muppets Harry Potter, and then for the older demographic, but not too old, you could have Muppets Lads. Right. You could have in-betweeners, Muppets Lads.
Oh dear. Oh no, I was thinking much more kind of hokey than that. It was like the famous 5 Muppet Babies.
Oh god, yeah, you don't see many of those, do you anymore? Famous 5. You could have Hunger Babies.
So we do like Muppet Babies in-betweeners, and it's just the same thing, but just just really cummy Muppets.
But then it's not about them fucking, it's about them like kissing.
Trying to fuck. That's what the in-betweeners was about.
Okay, yeah. Hunger Babies.
Hunger Babies.
Muppets Hunger Games.
Hungry Babies.
Because wasn't the Hunger Games just the Running Man for, like, Running Man Lads? Running Man for kids.
That's it, right? This is the lads episode.
The lads episode. Why did you do that with your hands?
Because every time you say lads, that's what I'm thinking.
Lads.
It's a little bit light, isn't it?
It's a little bit flowery. Star Trek, Muppets Lads.
Star Trek Lads.
Star Trek Lads. Aye, aye, Captain.
It's a very small, open-top fucking starship vessel. Like, so almost immediately after the credits, their heads are exploding.
People can wear... In Star Trek Lads, people can wear whatever they want. It just has to be tight and white. Star trekking across the universe on the Starship Enterprise under Captain Kirk. What's wrong with you, Papas? Muppets Men. Have you ever seen that?
Muppets Men. So talking like a sort of entourage-y type vibe.
You could take something for kids, but make it for proper, fully grown adults.
Same content.
Pirates
just
of the Caribbean Men. All right, lads, you like Keira Knightley, don't you? But you also like tits. Well, I've got both. it's a man in like a top hat and a massive red coat, like step right up forward, Pirates of the Caribbean men.
So is it supposed to appeal to men, or is it just the entire cast is very manly men? I'm a little bit unclear on this
No,
concept.
it's something that appeals to red-blooded men. Johnny Depp is not really in it. And Keira Knightley has massive tits. And it doesn't have many lines. Yeah, I mean, you could have, like, Saving Private Ryan women. Something that appeals to the women. It's like they storm the beach, but it's also about love.
There's no fire at all.
Matt Damon and a Nazi fall in love. Muppets chaps.
Chaps! Yeah, but, alright. So,
Muppet, where's my car?
no, back to Muppet chaps, right?
Yeah.
Because we're not talking about chaps as in lads.
We're
We're talking about cowboy trousers,
Yes,
right?
we are, yeah.
Assless chaps. Muppets assless chaps. It gets by the sense that since Muppets don't technically have butts.
It's a technicality. There's a huge lawsuit. It's pushed through fucking the Supreme Court. It's a freedom of expression to wear these chaps made out of dead Muppets.
All you see is it's strung together with loads of eyeballs. It's really grotesque. It's lots of faces in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think for Muppets.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Muppets.
Oh, Muppets Apocalypto. I'd like to see that.
Muppets Babies Apocalypse.
Babies eating babies. There can't be any more babies.
Oh no, my Muppets baby is in a Muppets baby ditch. This Muppet baby's fucking rain is filling up this Muppet baby's ditch with Muppet baby's water.
All Muppets and Muppets babies must be referred to in the third person. It is a labour to get through this movie.
It takes the audience's breath away when at the end, Black Jaguar or whatever he's called turns to the camera and says, "Fuck Muppet Spaniards."
Cut like immediately. It like an offensively abrupt cut to black.
You just hear
It's really kind of out there.
you just hear 2 seconds of Mel Gibson laughing into a microphone down a hallway.
A door slam like really hard.
Well, the obvious one we haven't talked about.
Muppets Passion of the Christ.
Muppets Passion of the Muppet. Well, obviously Kermit would be Christ.
Oh, naturally.
And Willem Dafoe would be Judas.
I'd love to see that fucking movie so much.
I'll watch anything with Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd jump on that with both fucking feet. Oh, that has to happen. Even if it's like a sort of like after school type special, it's only like 30 minutes or something like that, but it has to be done. I imagine there'd be a lot of lobbying against that movie. For reals.
Oh dear. Well, how about what I was going to say was Muppets Lethal Weapon.
Okay.
I don't know why. I could just totally imagine them. I could imagine them as Muppets, but I could also imagine it's Lethal Weapon. All the enemies are in Lethal Weapon are the same. It's a modern movie, but it's made shot for shot.
Right. Okay.
You know, and everything looks very 80s. They've got the same props in there. It's all filmed on 4K and everything. But the only difference is the guns are the same, the lines are the same, the delivery's the same, but Danny Glover and Mel Gibson's parts are taken by 2 golden Labradors. In cop clothes. Could you not imagine that? They are like dogs.
Right, so like, do they have any dialogue here?
No,
Mel
they're
Gibson,
dogs. Don't be stupid.
Well, maybe there's some kind of like telepathic fucking communication here,
Oh yeah, they have conversation with each other. They're dogs. We'll just dub it in Russian or something.
Like it's not subtitled though, So most non-Russian speaking audiences don't understand is that there's some real heavy like communist overtones here.
It's a very ideological film. Muppets communism. Oh yeah, and then you could have Muppets Animal Farm. You could have Muppets Battleship Potemkin.
Muppets Das Boot.
Oh no, what's Muppet Lenin saying? Oh no, Muppet Lenin's dead, and now Muppet Stalin.
Maybe Muppets Ran would be a good one.
Muppets Ran, yeah. Muppets King Lear. Muppet Simpsons.
Oh, I don't want to go near this.
Muppets Bill and Ted.
Oh, yeah, that would.
Bill and Ted could go back in time to Muppet time.
All right, so they go so far back in time
that people are Muppets. That's right, 300 fucking years ago. Oh, well, I think we're just about going to wrap it up now, right?
I think so.
Thank you very much for listening. We obviously recorded this just before we did the disastrous, wonderful...
Delete is applicable.
live stream. So I hope that went well. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to this. And see you next time where we will be discussing how to fix Die Hard 5.
Oh. Not an easy task by anyone's stretch of the imagination.
No. Well, we're just going to Muppetize it, I think. Obviously. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Ta-ra.
Ta-da. When you say Muppetizing, do you mean like Muppet Babies? I haven't said do you mean Tiny Toons?
Yeah. Well, why are you asking me this now?